Welcome to what promises to be a truly transformative experience. Your presence here isn't a mere coincidence. It's a profound indication that, deep within, you've sensed an imbalance. A whisper that something crucial isn't quite aligned in your life. Perhaps you've diligently attempted to sustain motivation, striving to cultivate beneficial habits. You've likely consumed countless videos, absorbed inspiring quotes, meticulously crafted plans, yet you remain tethered, paralyzed, still overthinking, still succumbing to procrastination, still inadvertently obstructing your own progress. Consequently, a nagging question has begun to surface. Is there something inherently wrong with me? Why do I persistently sabotage my own success? How is it that I know precisely what needs to be done yet fail to act? Allow me to unveil a fundamental truth, one conspicuously absent from your education. Whether within the hallowed halls of academia or the comforting confines of your own home, the challenge isn't a lack of willpower nor a deficiency in motivation. The true culprit, and indeed the ultimate solution, resides within the intricate workings of your own brain. Yes, your brain presents the problem, but it also holds the key to liberation. Your brain is neither inherently lazy nor irreparably broken. On the contrary, it is diligently executing the programming it has received. This programming, however, may have been forged in the crucible of trauma, influenced by toxic individuals, shaped by negative thought spirals, saturated by social media's constant input, reinforced by the repetition of fear and failure, and driven by deeply entrenched unconscious patterns. You see, approximately 95% of your life is governed by your subconscious mind. This means only a meager 5% of your daily actions are truly under the dominion of your conscious goals. The vast majority are dictated by automatic, invisible mental programs. These programs were written by the indelible ink of your past experiences, not by the hopeful aspirations of your future. So, even when you declare, "I want to wake up early, I want to build my business, I want to achieve success," your brain, if previously conditioned for fear, failure, distraction, and comfort, will actively resist your conscious intentions. This is precisely why motivation proves fleeting, why you find yourself perpetually restarting. Your brain continues to operate on an outdated system. You were diligently taught to brush your teeth, to solve complex mathematical equations, to meticulously follow rules. Yet the most potent weapon at your disposal, your own mind, was left untrained. Consider this. No one ever truly taught you how to master your thoughts. No one instructed you on how to fundamentally rewire your inner self-talk. No one showed you the path to becoming mentally unbreakable. And now, here you are, intelligent, capable, talented, yet perpetually stuck. This stagnation persists because your mind is running on an antiquated code. And if you fail to reprogram that code, if you neglect to train your brain to win, you will inevitably live your entire life far below your true potential, brimming with dreams yet devoid of tangible results. That ends today. In this video, I will equip you with the 9 most formidable mental weapons designed to rewire your brain from the inside out. These aren't mere hacks or transient motivational boosts. These are powerful tools, forged from the crucible of psychology, neuroscience, unwavering obsession, and unvarnished truth. These very weapons are employed by the most successful individuals across the globe. Their advantage isn't superior intellect, but rather their deliberate training of their brains to think differently, to act differently, and to master their emotions. You are about to learn how to replicate this, step by meticulous step. This isn't merely a video to passively watch. It is an immersive experience. Every single second is purposefully constructed to transform your mind and, consequently, your life. And as you engage with this content, you're not just training your brain. You're simultaneously enhancing your English proficiency by actively listening, acquiring new vocabulary, and consciously thinking in English at every juncture. Let's begin. Weapon 1: Mind Override. Understand this critical principle. If you do not actively command your thoughts, they will inevitably seize control of your entire existence. So, what precisely is mind override? It is the indispensable skill of deliberately interrupting those automatic, often unhelpful thought patterns and consciously replacing them with intentional, empowering commands designed to propel you towards victory. It is the crucial mechanism by which you dismantle the mental autopilot that keeps you perpetually stuck. It's how you decisively halt the spiraling descent into negativity before it solidifies into your lived reality. Ultimately, it's how you cease to be a mere victim of your own mind and begin to assert mastery over it. The vast majority of people never practice mind override. Instead, they simply obey their thoughts. They unquestioningly believe every fearful notion that surfaces. They readily follow every lazy urge. They permit every distraction to triumph. This subservience explains why they often remain financially constrained, why they settle for an average existence, and why they ultimately live with pervasive regret. Imagine this scenario. You awaken and your alarm blares. Instantly, your brain whispers, "Just 10 more minutes of sleep." At that precise moment, your day is already compromised because you failed to override that initial command. You succumbed to it, and your brain internalizes a dangerous lesson. Next time, it's acceptable to yield to weakness. Now, envision this playing out hundreds of times throughout your day. You're poised to begin work, but your mind suggests, "Let's just check Instagram for a second." You're about to head to the gym, but your mind rationalizes, "It's okay to skip just one day." You're preparing to study, but your mind persuades, "You can always do it tomorrow." And each time you heed that seductive voice, your brain meticulously records it as a reinforcing pattern. That pattern, over time, becomes the fabric of your personality, and your personality, ultimately, shapes your destiny. Mind override commences with one profoundly powerful rule. The first thought is automatic, the second is yours. You cannot always dictate the initial thought that arises, but you possess the unwavering power to choose your subsequent response. When your brain declares, "I can't do this," you override it with, "I will figure this out." When it whispers, "I'm not good enough," you counter with, "I am still becoming who I need to be." When it insists, "I'll never change," you assert, "I'm not there yet, but I am certainly not staying here." This isn't self-deception. This is the deliberate training of your brain to serve your aspirations for the future, rather than to be enslaved by your fears. Let's consider a real-life illustration. There was a young man named Brandon, whose ambition was to become a professional athlete. Every single day, he would commit to training at 5 a.m. before school. One particular winter morning, the temperature plummeted below freezing. He was utterly exhausted, profoundly hungry, desperately sleepy, and his body ached. His mind shrieked, "Sleep, rest, skip today. You absolutely deserve it." But Brandon neither argued nor negotiated. Instead, he simply whispered one resolute sentence: "We don't skip greatness." He rose from his bed and trained. And that singular moment, that decisive override, was the pivotal instant that irrevocably altered his life. Years later, Brandon reflected, "That one override at 2 a.m. taught my brain that my mission takes precedence over my mood. And that's the distinguishing characteristic of winners. They don't obey the first thought. They override it." The final undeniable truth of this weapon is profound. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your impulses. You are, if you choose to be, the absolute commander of your mind. And if your desire is to genuinely win in life, to truly triumph, you must master the art of mind override. For a weak mind passively listens to itself, but a strong mind actively speaks to itself and meticulously follows its own orders. This is your first weapon. Master it, and your brain will never again be an adversary. Weapon 2, repetition ritual. You do not become the sum of what you do once. You become the embodiment of what you consistently repeat, day after day. What then is a repetition ritual? It is an immensely powerful mental weapon that fundamentally reshapes your brain through one of the most enigmatic yet undeniably proven principles of success: neuroplasticity. This is your brain's remarkable capacity to constantly rewire itself based on what you persistently repeat. Yes, your brain is not static. It is not a permanent, unchangeable fixture. It is in a perpetual state of flux, continuously adapting and evolving based on your actions, repeated again and again and again. The fundamental issue, however, is that most people unconsciously repeat the wrong things. They engage in negative self-talk, endlessly scroll through social media feeds, indulge in complaining, constantly compare themselves to others, get trapped in cycles of overthinking, perpetually quit and restart, and repeatedly affirm to themselves, "I'll never change." And predictably, every single time they repeat these patterns, their brain internalizes and believes them. Repetition transcends mere habit formation. It is, in essence, identity programming. What you consistently repeat is precisely what you become. This is why the most successful individuals in the world don't merely establish a routine. They forge a ritual, a non-negotiable ritual of repetition that actively programs their brain for triumph, not for defeat. Your brain is composed of billions of specialized cells called neurons. These neurons communicate with each other through intricate electrical signals. The more frequently you repeat a particular thought or action, the stronger and more efficient the connection between those neurons becomes. It's akin to a path through a dense jungle. The more frequently you traverse it, the clearer and more accessible it becomes. Cease walking it, and it will eventually disappear, overgrown and forgotten. Now ask yourself, what mental pathways have you been diligently walking every single day? Is it a path of fear, a path of doubt, a path of debilitating laziness? If so, your brain has made that particular path remarkably easy to navigate, which is why you automatically default to it. But repetition possesses the incredible power to alter that path. You can construct entirely new neural superhighways within your brain. Pathways of courage, of unwavering discipline, of profound belief, of laser-like focus, of undeniable purpose. But this transformation will only occur if you repeat these new actions daily, relentlessly, without a single excuse. Motivation is a fleeting spark. Repetition is an enduring fire. Motivation is temporary. Repetition is permanent. Motivation often originates externally. Repetition emanates from deep within. Let me make this unequivocally clear. What you accomplish on your worst day holds more significance than what you achieve on your best day. This is because repetition fundamentally trains your brain during moments of struggle, and it is precisely during discomfort that true rewiring takes place. Anyone can summon motivation for a single day, but true winners consistently repeat the same crucial actions every single day, regardless of whether they feel like it or not. This is why discipline proves stronger than mere desire. This is why ritual holds more power than fleeting inspiration. This is why repetition is the secret weapon that virtually no one wants to employ, yet everyone desperately needs. Allow me to provide one of the most compelling examples from recent history. Kobe Bryant, widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players to have ever graced the court. But why? Was it raw talent? Yes, he possessed an abundance of it. Yet do you wish to know what truly made him unstoppable? Repetition. Kobe adhered to an unyielding ritual. He would awaken at 4 a.m. every single morning and practice. Not just once a week, not merely when he felt particularly good. Every single day, he would execute the same shot thousands of times. He would repeat the same drills for hours on end. He would train longer and harder than anyone else. His coaches once inquired, "Why do you perform the same drills over and over when you've already mastered them?" Kobe's illuminating reply was simple. "Because every time I repeat it, I'm not just training my body, I'm actively programming my brain." His brain didn't need to consciously think. It didn't need to hesitate. When the pressure of the game mounted, His body instinctively knew precisely what to do because the ritual had flawlessly trained the response. That is the profound impact of repetition. It eradicates fear, it silences doubt, and it cultivates automatic excellence. Now, let's translate this into practical application. You don't necessarily need a 4 a.m. alarm. What you need are non-negotiables. A repetition ritual is something so incredibly simple yet so profoundly consistent that it progressively rewires your brain over time. Consider these examples. 10 minutes of reading every morning to train your brain for continuous learning. Writing the affirmation, "I am becoming unstoppable," 10 times daily to profoundly rewire your self-belief. Practicing English sentences every evening to cultivate fluency. Declaring your vision aloud in the mirror to reconstruct your identity. Embarking on a 20-minute walk without your phone to cultivate stillness and mental clarity. The specific nature of the ritual is less important than its consistent execution. What truly matters is that you repeat it with military-grade consistency. Not merely when you feel motivated, not only when life is easy, but especially when it is difficult. That is when the brain learns most profoundly. And remember this crucial insight. The goal of repetition is not unattainable perfection. The true goal is profound transformation. You are not repeating actions to become flawless. You are repeating them to evolve into an entirely new version of yourself. Someone stronger, someone more focused, someone who no longer yields to the urge to quit. You are already repeating something every single day. The critical question is that repetition actively constructing you or gradually dismantling you? This weapon, the repetition ritual, is how you quietly, day by day, seize control of your life. No unnecessary noise, no dramatic declarations, just powerful, intentional action, repeated with unwavering obsession. And one day, the people around you will inevitably inquire, "How did you change? What happened? How did you become so remarkably focused and fearless?" And you will simply smile, because they never witnessed the thousands of silent repetitions you diligently performed when no one else was watching. But your brain witnessed it, your future profoundly felt it, and your life ultimately became it. Because you don't merely rise to the level of your lofty goals. You will inevitably fall to the consistent level of your ingrained rituals. Train your brain through the power of repetition, and it will begin to fiercely champion your future. This is your second mental weapon. Wield it with unwavering purpose. Repeat it until your mind bends entirely in your favor, and you will never revert to your old self again. Weapon 3. Pain conditioning. If you instinctively avoid pain, you concurrently forfeit power because pain serves as the ultimate gymnasium for the mind. So, what precisely is pain conditioning? It is that rare mental weapon utilized by an elite few who grasp a profound truth. Your brain does not grow in the lap of comfort. Your brain expands, strengthens, and evolves through controlled suffering, through deliberately confronting fear, through intentionally stepping into discomfort, through consistently choosing what is difficult again and again. The very term conditioning signifies the training of a system to become more resilient and robust under duress. And pain, whether emotional or physical, is the most potent resistance tool you can employ to forge your mental muscles. Let me share an honest, unvarnished truth. Most people fervently desire a better life, but they vehemently recoil from the pain that is an inherent part of constructing it. They crave confidence, yet they meticulously avoid rejection. They aspire to success, yet they evade risk. They long for discipline, yet they flee from discomfort. They yearn for transformation, yet they sidestep the necessary process of breaking down and rebuilding. And this precisely is why they frequently fail, because comfort is an insidious drug. And every time you choose the path of least resistance, you incrementally diminish your mental fortitude. Pain conditioning is about fundamentally reversing this equation. It's about diligently training your brain to actively crave challenge, to instinctively say, "If this feels uncomfortable, it is undeniably making me stronger." Here's the underlying biology. When you voluntarily engage with difficult endeavors, Your brain releases dopamine after the effort, not before. This crucial distinction means that when you systematically train yourself to embrace and execute hard things, your brain learns to derive pleasure from earning reward rather than merely escaping pain. That is the fundamental difference between true winners and everyone else. Winners condition their brain to feel profoundly rewarded after exercising discipline. Average individuals, conversely, train their brain to chase instant, fleeting relief. Pain conditioning also actively stimulates and develops parts of your brain intrinsically linked to emotional resilience and robust decision-making. When you consciously push through discomfort, you're not merely toughing it out. You are, quite literally, rewiring your brain to become emotionally stronger and more adept. Allow me to offer the most extreme illustration of pain conditioning. David Goggins, a man who transformed himself from being overweight, abused, and fundamentally broken into a formidable Navy SEAL, an ultra-runner of legendary status, a world record holder, and the very embodiment of mental toughness. But how did he achieve this? Not through ephemeral motivation or superficial self-love quotes. He achieved it through pain. Goggins undertook what most people would never even contemplate. He ran on broken legs. He trained relentlessly while bleeding. He pushed his body far beyond what was conventionally considered humanly possible. And every single time pain screamed at him to stop, he roared back, "You will not beat me today." In his groundbreaking book, Can't Hurt Me, he recounts one particularly harrowing moment. He was competing in a 100-mile race. His feet were severely broken, his legs were grossly swollen, and his urine was visibly mixed with blood. Most individuals would unquestionably quit, but he didn't. Why? Because he had meticulously trained his brain to perceive pain not as an unequivocal signal to cease, but as an undeniable signal to rise. That, in its purest form, is pain conditioning. You don't need to run 100 miles. You don't need to physically bleed. But you absolutely need to deliberately embrace discomfort on purpose. Pain conditioning is meticulously built through a series of small, intentional daily decisions. Taking a cold shower to deliberately train your discomfort response. Saying no to immediate pleasure to build profound self-control. Working diligently even when you are bone-tired to push your mental limits. Finishing tasks, even when they are excruciatingly boring, to cultivate endurance. Actively facing what you fear to stretch your emotional resistance. Every single time you purposefully walk into pain instead of reflexively running from it, your brain registers it. This person is becoming dangerous. This person doesn't break easily. This person is genuinely different. Now, here's what most people never truly comprehend. Pain doesn't stop you. The fear of pain does. But when you systematically train with pain, you effectively eliminate that debilitating fear. You teach your brain through lived experience, I can survive heartbreak. I can survive being ignored. I can survive losing. I can survive utter exhaustion. And I can still keep going. That profound belief, painstakingly earned through repeated encounters with adversity, renders you mentally bulletproof. You don't grow by perpetually feeling good. You grow by confronting pain with deliberate purpose. Pain is not your adversary. Pain is, in fact, your most effective personal trainer. And every single time you intentionally, consciously, and powerfully step into it, you evolve into the kind of individual who does not collapse under pressure, but rather conquers it. It's pain conditioning, because comfort makes you soft, but controlled pain makes you unstoppable. Weapon 4. Identity hack. You do not simply rise to the level of your ambitions. You invariably rise to the level of who you profoundly believe you are. What then is identity hack? This represents one of the most potent weapons ever uncovered in the realm of human psychology. Identity hack is the deliberate act of meticulously rewriting the invisible internal script within your brain. The narrative that dictates, this is who I am. This is what I truly deserve. This is what is genuinely possible for me. Because every decision you make, every habit you cultivate, every belief you hold is fundamentally anchored in your deeply ingrained identity, not merely in your conscious goals. Your identity functions as your mind's core operating system. If your identity perpetually whispers, "I'm lazy," then no productivity system, however sophisticated, will genuinely save you. If it insists, "I'm not smart enough," no educational course will truly fix that fundamental self-perception. If you continuously affirm, "I always give up," your brain will inevitably sabotage every effort you make. If you believe, "I'm not meant for success," you will remain confined to a small existence, regardless of what external strategies you attempt. But when you skillfully hack that identity, when you consciously rewrite that deeply embedded script, you unlock an entirely new version of yourself. One who acts without hesitation, believes without crippling fear, and courageously pursues goals that once felt utterly impossible. Why do most people remain perpetually ensnared in outdated identities? Because the vast majority don't even realize their identity has been programmed in the first place. Where did this programming originate? From childhood criticism, from experiences of failure in school, from toxic relationships, from society's harsh judgments, from past mistakes, and from the repetitive echoing of words from others that, over time, began to feel profoundly true. The most tragic aspect is that people often begin to actively defend their limitations. They utter phrases like, "That's just how I am. I'm not a morning person. I've always been this way. I simply don't have confidence." And these aren't objective truths. They are merely identity structures trapping them in the stagnant patterns of the past. There exists a profound psychological concept known as self-schema, the intricate blueprint your brain utilizes to define itself. Your brain will relentlessly work day and night to ensure that your behavior meticulously aligns with your established identity, even if that identity is inherently toxic. This means that if you perceive yourself as weak, your brain will subconsciously manifest behaviors that reinforce weakness. If you see yourself as unworthy, your brain will reject opportunities for growth and success. If you fundamentally identify as a failure, your brain will actively seek out ways to lose. But the converse is equally true and profoundly empowering. If you deliberately rewrite your identity, your brain will instinctively begin to construct actions and beliefs that are in perfect harmony with that newly envisioned version of yourself. Muhammad Ali famously didn't declare, "I hope to be the greatest." He boldly proclaimed, "I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was." Ali didn't passively wait for the world to validate him or believe in his potential. He articulated his new identity aloud, over and over, with unwavering conviction, until his brain finally caught up. And once his brain genuinely believed it, his body, his discipline, his talent, everything else seamlessly followed. This is the unparalleled power of an identity hack. You speak it into existence before you physically become it. You act as if it is already true before you feel fully ready. You show up in the world as that future version of yourself, and inevitably, reality begins to align and catch up. How then do you wield the identity hack daily? First, precisely define the identity you aspire to embody. Don't simply say, "I want to be successful." Instead, articulate, "I am the kind of person who finishes what I start. I am a focused, calm, and powerful human being. I don't escape life. I lead it." Repeat these affirmations aloud in the morning, at night, or any time you feel your self-perception diminish. Second, act in deliberate alignment with this new identity, even if it initially feels inauthentic or forced. Your actions need not be flawless. They simply need to consistently match your new self-perception. Third, diligently track your wins, however small. Show your brain, "See, this is real. This new identity is manifesting." Every repetition profoundly carves this new identity deeper and deeper into your subconscious mind. You will never become merely what you want. You will only ever become what you truly believe you are. So, do not await permission. Do not wait for external proof. Do not wait for others' approval. Proactively create the identity that perfectly corresponds to the future you envision, and then act as if it already belongs to you. Because the mind does not merely follow goals. The mind fundamentally follows identity. Weapon 5. Dopamine shutdown. Until you decisively break your addiction to cheap, instant pleasure, your brain will never truly pursue profound purpose. To fully grasp the potency of this weapon, you must first comprehend the vital role of dopamine, the neurochemical that fundamentally orchestrates what you relentlessly pursue in life. Dopamine, contrary to popular belief, is not happiness itself. Dopamine is motivation. It is the intrinsic reason you rise from your bed. It is the underlying impetus behind reaching for your phone. It is the driving force behind your desire to win, or conversely, your impulse to endlessly scroll. But herein lies the core problem. Your brain was not meticulously engineered for the relentless demands of modern life. It was intricately built for survival, and the world around you is systematically hijacking that ancient survival system. In ancient times, your brain rewarded you with a surge of dopamine when you successfully hunted, when you meticulously built something, when you effectively solved a challenging problem, or when you persevered through physical pain. Now, your brain delivers that same dopamine hit when you idly open TikTok, when you receive a like on Instagram, when you consume highly processed junk food, when you binge watch Netflix, when you engage with adult content, or when you simply avoid doing difficult tasks. And every single time you repeat these easily accessible behaviors, your brain progressively lowers the bar for what it considers a genuine reward. This means that when it's time to truly focus, to diligently study, to construct a business, to engage in deep reading, or to think profoundly, your brain is already fatigued, already profoundly distracted, already thoroughly addicted to the path of least resistance and easy pleasure. This is precisely why you experience persistent loss of focus. This is why you feel an overwhelming sense of laziness. This is why your mind races with incessant anxiety. It's not an inherent flaw in you. It's because your dopamine system is fundamentally compromised, not by nature, but by the insidious accumulation of your daily habits. Why do most people never manage to escape this pervasive trap? Because dopamine addiction in our current society feels entirely normal. It is ubiquitous. It is often rewarded. It is relentlessly marketed. You observe individuals scrolling for 7 hours a day and casually labeling it relaxing. You witness people binge-watching shows they don't even genuinely enjoy. You see others desperately chasing likes and followers as if they are essential oxygen. They failed to recognize that their brain is being systematically rewired for profound weakness. Weak attention spans, compromised decision-making capabilities, diminished emotional control, and profoundly weakened motivation. The most tragic consequence is that they eventually begin to feel an unsettling emptiness, even when surrounded by an abundance of entertainment. They cannot genuinely savor silence. They cannot sit still without agitation. They cannot think clearly because their minds are perpetually overstimulated and woefully undertrained. When your brain becomes accustomed to a constant barrage of stimulation, the dopamine receptors themselves become desensitized and dull. When your brain is accustomed to such a relentless barrage, it no longer registers genuine achievements as rewarding. Even monumental milestones, like launching a dream project, pushing through a challenging workout, or mastering a new skill, feel unremarkable, arduous, or simply dull. The instant gratification of a YouTube short or a fleeting notification offers a far more potent, albeit fleeting, dopamine rush. This constant chase for superficial stimulation cultivates what can only be described as the modern disease of the mind, a pervasive addiction to distraction itself. However, the powerful process of dopamine shutdown offers a path to healing. By intentionally stripping away low-quality, superficial stimulation, you allow your brain to recalibrate. It begins to mend, developing a profound craving for deep, meaningful work, a genuine sense of purpose, and the satisfaction of true rewards. This is the precise moment when razor-sharp focus returns, when joy transcends fleeting moments to become a palpable, enduring state. It's when your brain transforms from a mere seeker of transient pleasure into a formidable tool of lasting power. Consider the real-life experience of a man in his early 30s. He was once a top university student, known for his sharp intellect, unwavering focus, and disciplined approach to life. Yet after graduation, his life took a drastic turn. He became ensnared by screen addiction, dedicating 8 hours daily to social media. His attention span eroded to the point where he couldn't read a single page of a book without compulsively checking his phone. His exercise routine ceased, and the very thought of sitting in silence for even 5 minutes became unbearable. Despite trying every conventional solution, planners, to-do lists, motivational videos, nothing shifted his reality. His brain had been completely hijacked by the incessant demands of dopamine. Then one pivotal day, he made a bold and radical decision. For 30 days, he completely eliminated all low dopamine activities from his life. No YouTube, no Instagram, no junk food, no frivolous internet browsing, and absolutely no mindless entertainment. Initially, it was an agonizing ordeal, his brain screaming for stimulation like an addict in withdrawal. But after merely 10 days, a profound shift occurred. He found he could comfortably sit in silence. He rediscovered his passion for writing. He completed an entire book. He embarked on 2-hour walks, during which he engaged in deep, uninterrupted thought. He reconnected with his emotions, clarity, sadness, joy, ambition, experiencing them fully without the urge to escape. After 30 days, he declared, "I got my brain back." This compelling narrative vividly illustrates the transformative power of dopamine shutdown. To wield this potent weapon in your own life, remember you don't need to abandon everything, but you must reclaim control. Begin with these actionable steps. 1. Select a single high dopamine habit to eliminate for a week. For instance, commit to no social media after 6 p.m. or completely cut out short-form videos. 2. Deliberately replace this habit with low dopamine activities. Embrace walks in nature, engage in journaling, read 5 pages of a book, sit in silent contemplation, practice stretching, or cultivate meaningful conversations. 3. Pay close attention to how your brain responds. You will inevitably notice heightened clarity, increased energy, and a profound sense of peace. 4. Consistently repeat this process, gradually escalating the challenge. Your ultimate objective isn't to permanently escape these activities, but to fundamentally reset your brain's reward system, enabling it to derive genuine satisfaction from real-life experiences once more. The ongoing battle for your mind is, in essence, a war of dopamine. Your true adversary isn't laziness, it's the insidious force of overstimulation. To forge a truly powerful brain, you must meticulously train it to not just tolerate, but to love deep, focused work, appreciate slow, deliberate growth, and embrace the richness of real life. This necessitates shutting down the allure of cheap, instant pleasures to unlock your authentic, enduring power. Weapon 6. Target lock. Your mind possesses a fundamental choice: to drift endlessly through scattered thoughts or to aim with pinpoint precision. It cannot, however, do both simultaneously. Target lock is the potent mental weapon of extreme, unwavering focus. It represents the profound capacity to fix your attention on a single goal, a singular task, or one overarching mission, while resolutely ignoring all other distractions. This stands in stark contrast to the demands of modern life, which constantly pressures you to multitask, juggle countless browser tabs, incessantly check your phone, and tackle 5 different things with only partial effort. Target lock, by design, trains your brain to immerse itself in one endeavor with unwavering obsession, for it is this very obsession that lays the foundations of empires. This distinction clearly separates those who merely wish from those who truly achieve. Writers who never complete their books, creators who abandon projects after a mere 6 weeks, or entrepreneurs who constantly pivot to new ideas. In contrast, There are individuals who lock in with such intensity that their accomplishments become impossible for the world to ignore. Distraction, you see, is not merely detrimental, it is utterly fatal to your aspirations. Each time you switch between tasks, your brain is forced to reload its focus, a phenomenon known as attention residue. This process systematically erodes the capacity for deep work, shatters momentum, and breeds anxiety. It explains why you can work for 8 hours straight and still feel a pervasive sense of having accomplished nothing. Your focus was fragmented, your brain simultaneously everywhere and nowhere. Without the mastery of target lock, your goals are destined to perish from sheer exhaustion rather than actual failure. When you commit to deep, undivided focus on a single task, your brain enters a remarkable state known as flow. In this immersive state, the passage of time becomes imperceptible, self-doubt completely vanishes, creativity surges, memory sharpens, and your energy levels rise exponentially. Crucially, a distracted brain simply cannot access this powerful state. Target lock acts as a rigorous training regimen, compelling your brain to enter and sustain flow. The more consistently you engage in deep focus, the more proficient your brain becomes at remaining in this peak performance zone. It is precisely within this sustained flow that truly extraordinary work is conceived and brought to life. Consider the inspiring journey of Mia. She was an average student, not a prodigy or at the top of her class. Yet she harbored an ambitious dream: to build an online business that empowered people to learn new languages. While her friends spent their days watching Netflix, aimlessly scrolling, and laughing at memes, Mia chose a different path. She committed to locking in for 2 hours every single day. No phone, no open tabs, no excuses, just pure focused creation. Developing content, designing courses, and building robust systems. Initially, her progress felt incremental, almost insignificant, but after 90 days, she had undeniably constructed something tangible and real. Within 1 year, her income surpassed that of many doctors. After 2 years, she was teaching thousands of students across the globe. Reflecting on her success, she simply stated, "I wasn't smarter, I was just more focused. I built while they scrolled." This exemplifies the unparalleled power of target lock. To cultivate this essential weapon in your own life, follow these principles. Choose one goal, not 5. Whether it's building a business, mastering a new language, achieving peak physical fitness, or writing that definitive book, commit to a singular paramount objective. Schedule dedicated deep focus time. Begin with a modest 30 minutes each day. During this period, enforce strict boundaries. No phone, no music, no conversations. Embrace the nothing else exists rule. When you sit down to work, immerse yourself so completely that for that duration, the only reality is the task at hand. Track your progress weekly. Observe and record the noticeable improvements in your brain's speed, depth of understanding, and the overall quality of your output. Your future doesn't demand a proliferation of goals. It desperately requires a singular, intensified focus. If you genuinely aspire to transform your life, the answer isn't to do more. It's to do one thing. Do it completely, wholeheartedly, and with the fervent conviction that your entire future hinges upon its successful execution, because in essence, it does. Weapon 7. Victory Delay Mode. The distinction is clear. Feeble minds crave immediate results, while highly trained minds possess the fortitude to endure longer. Knowing that such perseverance leads to enduring, permanent victory, Victory Delay Mode is the ultimate mental weapon, embodying long-term vision and unwavering discipline. It is the profound capacity to declare, "I may not receive my reward today, but I will nonetheless show up, embrace the struggle, and pour every ounce of my effort into this endeavor. For I am not merely chasing fleeting quick wins. I am meticulously training for a permanent, fundamental transformation." This particular weapon is the precise differentiator between those who merely harbor desires and those who ultimately achieve triumph. The average individual yearns for rapid progress, demanding tangible results within a week. desiring success without any accompanying sacrifice. Consequently, when instant victory eludes them, they invariably quit. Winners, however, consciously activate victory delay mode. They train diligently without the need for external applause. They endure suffering without a hint of complaint. They build their legacies in quiet solitude, laboring for weeks, months, or even years. They understand a fundamental truth. Genuine success demands time, whereas the illusion of immediate comfort is a destructive force that undermines everything. Why do so many individuals fail without mastering this crucial weapon? The answer lies in the 1-second world we inhabit. We are constantly bombarded by 1-second notifications, conditioned to have 1-second attention spans, craving 1-second gratification, setting 1-second goals, and often resorting to 1-second quitting. Everything in our environment is meticulously designed to cultivate impatience within us, urging us to chase fleeting dopamine hits rather than tangible, lasting results. It subtly implants the insidious belief that if you don't achieve success within a month, something is inherently wrong with you. This, however, is a profound deception. The undeniable truth is that true success unfolds slowly, and suffering is an inherent, non-negotiable part of its price. Yet because most people are never instructed in the art of delaying victory, they inevitably succumb to mental weakness. They abandon their pursuits if they don't receive immediate praise, cease their efforts if views or engagement numbers falter, and quit entirely if quick results don't materialize. Their brains become utterly addicted to short-term approval and develop an intense aversion to long-term suffering, which is precisely why their most cherished dreams ultimately collapse. In the realm of psychology, this principle is famously illustrated by the marshmallow test. In this classic experiment, researchers presented a child with a single marshmallow and offered a choice. You can eat this now, or if you wait just 15 minutes, you can have 2 marshmallows. The children who exhibited the remarkable capacity to wait, demonstrating the power of delayed gratification, consistently proved to be more successful later in life. They enjoyed superior health, greater emotional resilience, and achieved higher academic and professional performance. The reason is simple yet profound. The ability to defer immediate pleasure is the bedrock of self-mastery. It signifies that you are in control of your primal cravings, you govern your emotional reactions, you command your impulses, and ultimately, you steer the course of your own future. Victory delay mode is not merely about passively waiting. It is an active, ongoing process of profound mental training. It's about cultivating such immense mental fortitude that the craving for instant rewards dissipates entirely, replaced by an unwavering certainty. When I finally achieve this victory, it will unequivocally be worth every ounce of suffering and every moment of perseverance I endured. Consider the compelling example of Emma, a dedicated painter. She never went viral, didn't amass millions of followers, and for many years, generated no income from her art. Yet, her belief in her work remained unshakable. Every morning, she rose and painted for hours, in the absence of likes, applause, or clients. Her friends advised her to quit. Her parents urged her to find a real job, but she persisted. A decade later, one of her paintings captured the attention of a billionaire art collector. That single sale transformed her life. She received invitations to prestigious art shows worldwide, and her entire body of past work became invaluable. When asked how she sustained her efforts for 10 years without external reward, Emma offered a profound insight. Because my reward wasn't just the sale, it was the immense strength I built by not needing it. That, then, is the essence of victory delay mode. To activate this formidable weapon in your own life, adopt these strategies. Choose a mission truly worth waiting for. Select an endeavor that, if you persist, will fundamentally transform your life, focusing not merely on what's exciting, but on what is genuinely essential. Track effort, not outcome. Disregard superficial metrics like likes. Instead, meticulously track the number of days you showed up, the hours you dedicated to practice, and the countless times you chose not to quit. Cultivate empowering self-talk. Speak to yourself with conviction, internalizing messages like, "My results are merely on delay, not in denial. With each day I endure in silence, I ascend in power. My reward awaits me, and I will meet it fully prepared." Actively avoid short-term poison. Do not permit fleeting comforts, endless scrolling, trivial distractions, indulgent comfort food, or premature quitting to undermine your hard-earned long-term rewards. Winners are not necessarily faster, they are simply willing to suffer longer. While others succumb to frustration and give up, you persist. While others pursue immediate comfort, you relentlessly chase mastery. While others seek the validation of applause, you quietly forge your immense power. And when your victory finally manifests, it will not be attributed to luck. It will be undeniably, unequivocally earned. Activate victory delay mode, and your future will become unstoppable. Weapon 8. Self-talk rewire. The single most dangerous voice in your entire life is the one residing within your own head. Self-talk rewire is the potent mental weapon designed to fundamentally transform this internal dialogue, altering the very way you speak to yourself. Its purpose is to reshape your brain into an unwavering ally rather than a formidable enemy. Understand this crucial fact. Your brain is a meticulous listener, absorbing every word you utter to yourself internally. What you consistently say to yourself, you invariably begin to believe. And what you believe, you ultimately live. A vast majority of people exist within a self-imposed mental prison, not due to external criticisms, but because of the relentless negative narrative they feed themselves daily. I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I can't change. I'm too far behind. I'm not special. I'll never make it. Your brain, remarkably, obeys these commands. It follows your internal voice with the unwavering loyalty of a soldier executing orders, even when those orders are profoundly toxic and self-sabotaging. Why do most people find themselves perpetually trapped in mental negativity? The fundamental reason is that we are never explicitly taught how to speak to ourselves. We learn to communicate with others, but not with the single voice we hear most often, our own. This critical oversight leads to a pervasive subconscious mental sabotage. Even when external circumstances improve, when golden opportunities present themselves, or when ample support becomes available, if your inner voice relentlessly whispers, "You're not good enough," your brain will inevitably orchestrate a way to fail. This explains why intelligent individuals remain stuck, why compassionate people feel unworthy, and why talented individuals prematurely abandon their dreams. Their inner voice is, in essence, inflicting more damage upon them than the external world ever could. Neuroscientists have conclusively demonstrated that self-talk profoundly shapes crucial aspects of our mental landscape: emotional regulation, focus, decision-making, and overall confidence. The words you articulate within your mind do not merely float away. They actively solidify into your core beliefs, dictate your behaviors, solidify your habits, and ultimately construct your reality. Your subconscious mind, notably, does not possess a filter for sarcasm or irony. If you repeatedly tell yourself, "I suck," it unequivocally believes you. If you incessantly declare, "I always fail," it diligently constructs a self-fulfilling failure loop. Conversely, if you affirm, "I'm learning," it immediately unlocks new avenues of possibility. If you confidently state, "I can," your brain proactively begins to prepare itself to assist you in achieving success. This isn't merely positive thinking. It is a sophisticated, deliberate form of neurological programming. Consider the case of Daniel, a dedicated long-distance runner who, for years, invariably gave up halfway through his runs. His physical conditioning was robust, his diet impeccable, and his training schedule meticulously planned. Yet he consistently quit, without understanding why. One day, he consciously decided to sit and intently listen to his internal self-talk. He made a startling discovery. Every time fatigue set in, a single recurring thought echoed in his mind. "You're not built for this. You always give up." While he never vocalized it, This silent refrain played like a toxic background track in his head. Recognizing its destructive power, Daniel resolved to rewire it. He crafted a powerful new affirmation. I'm the kind of person who finishes, even when it hurts. He began to repeat this sentence daily, during his runs, before sleep, and while looking in the mirror. After 90 days, an extraordinary transformation occurred. He ran his first marathon and, crucially, he finished it. He didn't stop prematurely, nor did he succumb to panic at mile 20. His inner voice had fundamentally altered its commands, and his brain, in its profound obedience, followed suit. To effectively implement self-talk rewire, adopt these practices. Daily awareness. Consistently become conscious of your current self-talk. Journal your most frequently recurring thoughts and honestly ask yourself, would I ever speak to someone I deeply love in this manner? Craft your new mental script. Develop a powerful, affirming new narrative. Examples include, I finish what I start. I'm still learning, but I don't quit. Or, every day I repeat this, I rewire who I am. Strategic repetition. Actively repeat your new script during high-pressure moments, whether it's at the gym, while engaged in demanding work, before a critical meeting, or in the aftermath of a setback. These are the moments when your brain is most receptive and listening most intently. Multisensory reinforcement. Speak your new affirmations out loud, write them down, or even record them. Utilize the power of your own voice to systematically reshape your internal narrative. Your brain inevitably becomes what it hears most often. If that predominant voice is your enemy, your brain will inevitably sabotage your future. If that voice transforms into your unwavering coach, your brain will fiercely champion your destiny. Therefore, ask yourself a fundamental question. What voice do I truly want guiding my life? Because the loudest, most consistent voice within you ultimately becomes your lived truth. Choose to rewire your self-talk, or risk being perpetually ruled by a negative narrative that was never truly yours to begin with. Weapon 9. Mental warfare mode. Let's be unequivocally clear. The true battlefield is not your life's external circumstances. The battlefield is your mind. And if you fail to wage war against your own mental limitations, you are destined to be defeated by them. Mental warfare mode is far more than mere positive thinking, passive calmness, or wishful hoping for improvement. This is not softness. This is war, a relentless, uncompromising conflict. It embodies a mindset forged through brutal self-discipline, unwavering emotional control, and an absolute refusal to be mentally broken, regardless of the adversities life throws your way. For the stark truth is, life will assail you. People will betray your trust. Meticulously laid plans will inevitably collapse. Fear will insidiously whisper its doubts in your ear. Self-doubt will poison your every step of progress. And your own mind, yes, your very own thoughts, will actively attempt to convince you to halt, to give up, to simply settle for less. Mental warfare mode is the courageous, definitive decision to fight back against these internal and external adversaries. It is the commitment to become so mentally resilient, so emotionally grounded, and so psychologically armed that absolutely nothing can break you, not even the most insidious attacks from within your own consciousness. This crucial insight is rarely shared. Your mind is not inherently your friend. It is fundamentally engineered for survival, not for success. Allow me to elaborate. Your brain's primary function is not to make you wealthy, to ensure your perpetual happiness, or to instill unshakable confidence. Its core directive is to keep you safe. This often translates into keeping you trapped in fear, compelling you to avoid risks, resisting personal growth, shielding you from potential rejection, and consistently prioritizing comfort over the pursuit of greatness. Consequently, if you fail to train for this mental war, your mind will relentlessly overthink every decision, incite panic under pressure, cultivate self-doubt regarding your worth, compel you to flee from challenges, and protect you from failure by never allowing you to even attempt. This is not a sign of personal weakness. It is simply your brain diligently performing its default programming, until you consciously choose to override it. This is precisely the essence of mental warfare mode. Systematically training your mind to align with your mission, not merely your fluctuating moods. To obediently serve your overarching goals, not to be dictated by your fleeting emotions. And to champion your grand vision, rather than capitulating to your ingrained fears. Every single thought you permit to dwell in your mind actively constructs a neural pathway. And much like physical training, the more you consistently practice a particular strength, the more robust it becomes. However, the inverse is equally true and profoundly dangerous. Consistently practice doubt daily, and doubt will become your default state. Indulge in daily complaining, and chronic pain will integrate into your very personality. Regularly practice quitting early, and your mind will unfailingly suggest it every single time. Neuroscience confirms that your brain doesn't inherently care about the content of your thoughts. It simply reinforces whatever patterns you repeatedly feed it. Mental warfare mode signifies a resolute commitment to no longer tolerate useless rumination, uncontrolled emotional outbursts, unchecked fear, or any form of internal storytelling that diminishes your strength. It is the definitive declaration: I am not my emotions, I am not my past, I am not my thoughts, I am the sovereign entity who consciously chooses what resides within my mind. This, fundamentally, is power. This is control. This is the ultimate victory. Let us turn to arguably the most agonizing yet profoundly powerful example of mental warfare ever chronicled. Viktor Frankl, a distinguished neurologist and psychiatrist, was also a prisoner in a Nazi concentration camp during the Holocaust. He was brutally stripped of his clothing, his entire family was murdered, and his dignity, home, and freedom were utterly obliterated. Yet within that unimaginable nightmare, he forged a decision that would become one of the most monumental mental weapons in human history. He articulated a timeless truth. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Frankl grasped that while his body was imprisoned and his world crumbled around him, his mind remained inviolable, unequivocally his own. And so, he embarked on a relentless internal war against despair, against hatred, against the insidious voice that urged him to give up, and against the pervasive hopelessness that enveloped him. He meticulously trained himself to extract meaning from his unbearable suffering. He vividly imagined his future, clung fiercely to his vision, and selflessly extended help to his fellow prisoners. He mentally reconstructed himself from within the depths of hell. Upon his survival and eventual liberation, he authored a book that has since transformed millions of lives, Man's Search for Meaning. This profound work elucidates a singular, unshakable truth. If you truly master your mind, nothing and no one can ever truly break you. This unequivocally is mental warfare mode. To activate this formidable weapon in your own life, follow these strategic steps. Name your war. Clearly identify the specific internal conflict you are currently facing, be it the fear of failure, recurring emotional breakdowns, chronic procrastination, lingering shame from your past, or crippling anxiety about the future. Call it precisely what it is, for you cannot possibly win a war you refuse to name. Write your mental war orders. Develop a personal set of unbreakable commands for your mind, such as, I will not obey fear. I choose power over panic. I do not break when confronted with difficulty. I sharpen. When they establish a morning mental warfare ritual. Each morning, dedicate time to a ritual. Articulate your mission. Vividly visualize your future. Consciously rewrite any negative thoughts. And speak to yourself with the conviction of a warrior. You do not passively wait to feel strong. You actively train yourself to become strong. Your most formidable enemy does not reside outside of you. It is the insidious voice within your own mind, the one that whispers, you can't do this, you're not ready, you'll fail again, you should just stop. But today, you choose to fight back. You declare war. You systematically install these mental weapons. You sharpen your inner blade. You discipline your mind with unwavering resolve. For if you fail to fight for your future, your fears will triumph by default. Mental warfare mode is not a transient feeling. It is a resolute decision, an unyielding command, and an enduring way of life. Train your mind like a seasoned warrior, or resign yourself to being perpetually defeated by a weaker version of yourself. Now, you possess the unvarnished truth. Your trajectory in life is not predetermined by innate talent, arbitrary luck, or fleeting motivation. It is, in fact, the 9 formidable mental weapons you consciously install and integrate into your daily life that ultimately dictate who you become. Each of these weapons represents a comprehensive system, a powerful mindset, and an unstoppable force that distinctly separates those who enact genuine change from those who merely continue to dream. Now, the pivotal choice rests entirely with you. Will you passively consume this information, or will you actively live it? Will you merely remember these powerful mental weapons, or will you seize them and wield them to achieve victory? Understand this fundamental reality. No one is coming to rescue you, and no one is coming to train your brain on your behalf. That profound responsibility is unequivocally yours alone. And today, you have been equipped with the essential tools. Your brain is no longer a potential enemy. It is, in fact, your greatest, most potent weapon. Now go forth and sharpen it diligently every single day. If this message has ignited a sense of power within you, if it has catalyzed a meaningful shift in your internal landscape, then I urge you, do not depart without subscribing. We are actively cultivating a community where weakness is dismantled, and true power is meticulously trained and cultivated. Subscribe now, for the next insights we share could very well be the catalyst that completes your personal transformation. Thank you for investing your time in watching. Your journey to unparalleled mental greatness has only just commenced.